Am I on? Oh, yay. How'd you do that from over there on my things over here? Thank you, everybody, for coming today. You have no idea how excited I was about the opportunity to speak with you all today, and I could not wait to get here this morning. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to come into the city and spend a few hours with me this morning. I want you to know and be prepared. And I don't mean to sound arrogant at all. This could be 2 of the most valuable hours that you spend for not only today, but for your life. This is not just going to be some little talk about stress management. This is a talk about living a successful life. I don't know, and I don't take credit for this. It just came to me through years of research. And I believe, and I feel, and in a way I know, that this is the secret to life. This is a secret to live a successful life in every area of your life. It's not just about success in business, which is really important, but success in every area. So I ask you, are you with me? Are you ready to pay attention? Are you ready to absorb everything that I'm going to give to you this morning in a fire hose? Because what I'm sharing with you today, I normally spend 6 to 12 hours with someone giving them this information, or with a corporation, or with a group. And you're getting it in 2. But don't worry, don't panic. I speak all over the country and around the world. It's not going to be, I don't know how they're getting that arranged with the pandemic. Been invited to speak to 600 people in the UK this summer. But luckily for you, I'm right here in Pittsburgh. Born and raised, run my organization. Isn't that strange that here I am right here in Pittsburgh? I get pulled everywhere else. And I'm so proud and so fortunate to be born and raised in Pittsburgh. This amazing city, amazing people, unlike anywhere else. And I've always wanted the opportunity to finally share this information with people right in my backyard. This is intended to completely improve the way everyone works and lives. And you're going to hear this today, and some may be like, oh, I heard some of this before. And yes, you have. But there is a nuance that I discovered, which was the missing piece for everything. And don't worry, I'm going to make it clear to you what that is. It was the missing piece to achieve success that made everything happen in almost what appeared to be the most miraculous ways. And it's not just for me. Anyone and everyone can do this. But you have to be ready to pay attention. Don't worry, I'll repeat the key thing often. But be open-minded to the possibility of what this little nuance offers you. It is so powerful, but yet so simple. And you're going to think to yourself, oh, this is too simple. Can't be. Well, that's because you have been taught that everything worthwhile is difficult. Everything worth going after takes stress and struggle. You got to work hard. You got to grit and grind. I'm here to tell you that you have it all wrong. And the final piece is here for you this morning. So please hang in there, pay attention, and don't worry, I'm here. I'm going to repeat it, and I'm not going anywhere. I live in Pittsburgh. You always can reach out to me for more. Okay, you ready? So thank you to Rhonda, Robert, everyone else, James, that ended up helping me get here this morning. And thank you all for being here as well, again. Okay, we heard all about, so I gotta start with questions. Are you feeling burned out? Working harder than ever, trying to achieve your goals, but not seeing results sometimes? Or maybe you have achieved success, but gosh, do you really want to go after more because you paid a high price to get there? Anybody? Some of it? Okay. This is what we live with, right? And now maybe you're not in your office right now, you're working from home, but still don't you imagine this feeling of everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody needs your time and your contracts and your agreements and your phone calls and your Zoom meetings and this and that and your money, and your, right? It's like, wow, this is the way we live. Everything's just too much all the time, too overwhelming. And then on top of it, we watch the news. Rule number one, I'm sorry, whoever's in the news here, stop watching the news. That'll improve your life dramatically, but in the meantime, right, gun sales soar. How many people are here bought a gun this year? Okay, sorry. Liquor sales soar. Toilet paper shortage. Don't all of you small business people wish you were in the toilet paper business this year? I sure. They would all be multi-millionaires. But instead, it's more stress, more struggle. On top of it, 61% of our employees are burned out. Did you know that? As stress increases, missed work days increase, costing organizations $5 billion a year. This is no joke. Healthcare costs are projected to continue to increase by 5.5% per year. As health declines, productivity declines. Let me tell you, productivity is the most important piece to your life and your business. Productivity. And I'm going to give you something you've never heard before on how to dramatically improve productivity. Because loss of productivity costs 2 to 3 times more than direct healthcare expense, right? So what are the signs? Let's see, HR department. You look far too relaxed. Around here, you're expected to stress for success, right? That's what we think. You got to stress for success. Now, I told you I'm not here to talk about stress management, but of course we have to talk about stress management first to then get into how to achieve more success. 90% of illness is due to lifestyle and stress. Well, negative stress, there's something, by the way, called positive stress. Do you know when you got a project you're excited about and you're kind of a little bit anxious, but you can't wait to dig in? That's positive stress, and that's a good thing. So it is not true that stress is always bad for you. Isn't that a new idea? But negative stress, especially chronic negative stress, is an issue. So here's what's important. When you are stressed, your body goes into fight or flight mode because your body is like ready to fight a tiger if you're being attacked. And you need to be ready to either fight that tiger or run, fight or flight. Your body doesn't know the difference between a tiger and a difficult client, right? So what happens is in order to be in fight or flight mode, to fight or run, blood drains from your brain and goes to your extremities. How can you think clearly to solve the problems of your business and your life if you have no blood in your brain? So, very important that we learn to manage stress. And don't worry, we're going to get ideas there. But also other things happen. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, which suppresses your immune system. That's very important. How many people are clearly aware now that they must take care of their immune system in order to prevent or fight disease? That's one of the benefits that came out of this year is we're really keen on, we got to take care of ourselves to support our health. You know, your immune system can fight anything if you give it an opportunity. But when you're stressed, also when your body releases cortisol, it lowers your metabolism, and your body will burn glucose, which is blood sugar, instead of fat. So when you're really stressed, you get all that extra fat around your middle, which we know is harmful for your health. And when you're stressed, it increases your adrenaline, which increases inflammation, another issue with health. And stress affects your melatonin, so you can't sleep. Melatonin is your sleep hormone. And you must have good melatonin in order to sleep well at night and wake rested in the morning. Isn't that interesting that when you're stressed, did you ever lay there awake at night worrying about something, right? Why is that happening from a biological standpoint? Because if a tiger's going to attack you at night, you need to lay there with one eye open. See, everything has a reason, but tigers aren't attacking you. All these other things that are going on that we think are just as threatening. So if you can't sleep at night, well, you're exhausted the next day. And then how can you have the energy, clarity, confidence to be successful, to come up with solutions to your problems, to bring in opportunities? You can't. So yes, a little lesson on what's going on with stress, but we're here to talk about success and how the two go hand in hand. So what are signs of stress? You go to your employee, I need the job done in 2 days. She says, I'll have it done in 1. I hope somebody sees the humor in this. Nobody is smiling. I hope I didn't insult anybody. We gotta laugh. Do you see what she's doing? She's stressed. She said, I'll have it done in 1. Laughter is one of the ways to help resolve stress. So what we're going to do here is make the stressless success shift. You have been making success harder than it has to be. You have been told that you must stress for success. You must grit and grind. I'm here to tell you that that very understanding has blocked you from achieving the level of success that's possible for you. And once you learn that stress and struggle put walls of resistance up, I'm really concerned about this project and I know it's not going well. We put these walls of resistance up. Not only so you're working against these walls, these brick walls, it wears you out, and that's why you're exhausted and overwhelmed. But more importantly, when you work within these walls of resistance, you block opportunities and solutions from coming to you. The amazing thing about all of this is you've got the power within you. You are going to learn today that you're no longer a victim. You are no longer a victim over the pandemic, the economy, the government, your clients, your employees that aren't doing their job, your boss, if you have one. You're no longer a victim of your spouse, of your children driving you crazy. You have the power within you to create a different outcome for your life in every area of your life. All of it comes from within you. And when you realize you're no longer a victim, that you can create from what's going on inside of you, that is so empowering. That is so liberating. And so this is what I call my stressless success shift. You're going to shift from stress to success. And we're going to do that with you today. So you're going to stress less and succeed more. And then I feel like this, right? Yay. Instead of the employees and the clients all yelling at you, they need this, they need that. We're living a more elevated and expanded way of being. And that's when incredible things will happen for you and flow to you. So today we're going to go through 2 parts. One, I'm going to build the foundation so you understand where I'm coming from. And this is the most important piece, I believe, because you can take this understanding with you anywhere and apply it everywhere. But then, of course, then we're going to truly apply what we learned. You're going to leave here with everything you need to know. What I found, though, so I've worked in giving these talks in corporations, and one of them over the past year had me do a Zoom thing for a couple hours with their employees. Then they invited me in to give a presentation in their conference room. Then they invited me back again to give, and one of the employees, several of them said, but one of them specifically said, you know what? I heard what you said the first time. I listened more the second time. I didn't really understand the depth of this until the third time. But we've have this recorded. Hopefully you can keep revisiting this. And again, I know. Being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. Roger Crawford is actually the only professional tennis athlete who had severe disabilities of his arms. Professional tennis athlete that barely had complete arms. If he can do this, you can too, but it doesn't have to be difficult. But people say to me, oh, Janet, it's easy for you because you've been so successful, you have an easy life, everything's wonderful. No, that's not true. I actually heard, I was always a high achiever. I graduated top of my class in high school. Actually, I had to give a speech at high school graduation, which I completely flubbed, by the way. I had a quote, I couldn't remember any of my speech in front of everybody I went to school with, all their parents, all their sisters, brothers, grandparents, right? Everyone you can possibly know in your life in high school. I embarrassed myself, completely humiliated. I had a quote in my speech, it's the only part I remember, from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And I proceeded to say, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. That's how I ended my speech. So that's how people remember me from high school. So if anybody went to high school with me, I'm sorry, forget that. But isn't that interesting? That then when I went on to work Alcoa and Oracle, right away, I went to Toastmasters. I had to learn, I was fearful of speaking. After that traumatizing, right? But I went and did it. Went to Dale Carnegie sales talk course, whatever, all about speaking. I ended up winning #1 in the Dale Carnegie Sales Talk Championship for the country. So I took this challenge, right? And instead of being fearful over it, I just had to work through it and became, now I speak for a living. But then I went on to work at 2 corporate Fortune 500 companies, climbed the ladder faster than any of my peers, had a very, very successful, incredibly successful position at Oracle Corporation. I mean, literally, last year I was there, I made almost $500,000, selling $20 million of software and services. I mean, hugely successful. And this was decades ago. But all the stress and pressure of this high-powered job caused me to develop an autoimmune disease that took me down, became completely debilitated in the hospital with an illness I couldn't understand and couldn't control. Couldn't eat, I couldn't walk. Doctors came to me and said, Janet, I was athletic before that. Said, Janet, we understand why you can't walk. You're apparently allergic to the medications for this autoimmune disease and it's destroying your liver. So we have 2 options. Either one, we can put you on a medication that has 15% chance of causing cancer, or we can start removing your organs. I knew nothing about natural health and healing, but something came over me and said, no, I'm not going to do either of those. I'll never forget the day I got out of the hospital. I couldn't even walk up and down the stairs of my own home. But I started my journey of how to heal my body naturally and what to do, research, trial and error, and I completely resolved. But the doctors didn't know what to do for me. It wasn't their fault. I just couldn't do it. I'm now mid-50s, no illness whatsoever, no medications whatsoever, and I've been that way for decades. And they told me it was impossible. So that's when I went to Columbia University. I'm like, I gotta help people. I left the corporate world. I'm gonna help inspire people to live healthier lives. So I did that for about a decade or so, and I was working with people, helping them to resolve all kinds of health challenges, and it was really quite fulfilling. And I realized if it wasn't for my health challenge, I never would probably even be alive today from learning how to recover, right? And I helped all kinds of people. But I realized there was another missing piece. Like, it's not just about eating healthy and living healthy. There was this psychological piece that was missing. Like, some people would follow through, but some people wouldn't. So that's when I realized I got to start researching psychology and what's going on with our mindset. But that's when I hit the next wall in my life, when my husband of 26 years walked out on me and my son, our son, in an hour's notice. Left me not only heartbroken and our family ripped apart, but left me on the brink of financial disaster. Because not long before he left, he put liens on all his investment properties that I developed while raising our son for financial stability for our family. But the liens to support a business, at the time he was leaving, that business was failing. So not only did I feel like I was standing on thin ice, I felt like the roof above my head was a house of cards because he also put a lien on the home where we lived. I was facing bankruptcy. Guess what? I am grateful for these experiences because that led me out. It took me a while. I was really fearful, anxious, depressed, all that. I said, wait a minute, I used to be a vibrant, successful woman. I need to find the person again. So I literally, figuratively went out around the world and studied with world masters on success, achievement, abundance, high performance, positivity. And each one would help me a little bit. And I would see the benefit, but something was still missing. I still wasn't getting to the level of life that I felt was possible. That's when I made the discovery that changed everything for me. I'm going to share that with you today. And I've yet to hear anybody else out there talk about this. And so as soon as I started applying what I was discovering and learning, I was playing around with it, things came to me without effort. I was invited to Hollywood to be interviewed by Jack Canfield. He's like a multi-million best-selling author of all these books and success principles and everything. I got invited by Brian Tracy, who's like a success legend, to contribute a chapter to a book for him, which became a bestseller. And then that's when I put it all together and spent a year on and off writing Stressless Success, putting everything that I wanted to share with people, what I was learning, into this book. So here's the thing. I had done these other projects, but I never did my own book release. But we decided, my son works for me, and we decided to do it because we wanted to really have control over it, over the distribution and so forth. So we decided to apply the teaching of Stressless Success to the book launch. And did we do it perfectly? No. We were nervous. We never did it on launch before, so we did it. We started applying these principles. Every morning, we would sit down and say, how are you feeling? How's your energy? You're going to learn why that's important today. Like, well, that's not great. Okay, let's do something. Let's go out for a walk. Let's walk the dog. Let's get to a better place before we took action. That book became #1 bestseller in over 5 categories on Amazon. And what do you know? Want to know is the most important thing is it was released in February of 2020. How is it possible that after years of my life doing all this research and all these challenges, to release a book about stress right before a worldwide pandemic hits? Did I plan that? Did I concentrate on that and strategize on that? No. Did anybody know that this was going to happen? This worldwide pandemic? No. But this is what happens when you apply what I teach. Things happen in ways you could have never planned. You could have never accomplished with hours of focused thinking and stress and struggle. Things happen for you. Which, by the way, let me mention, you all have things to write on. If anybody needs a notebook, I have some notebooks out here. I did not give you the slides because I want you to pay attention. But if everyone would please know, I'm going to email you the slides. And I'll give you my contact information in the end. I want you to have a copy of these to kind of remember. Okay? So just so you know, don't worry about that. Anyway, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King Jr. So what challenges have you had, and what have you learned from your challenges? Now focus on this, what I wrote. What have you learned from your challenges? When you focus on what you learned, that challenge becomes a great gift. How many people know others, not you, that revel in their challenges? When I was little, my spouse did this, my boss did this, I this, right? They live in the misery of their challenges from the past. No wonder their life is miserable. When you focus on what you learned, what nugget of wisdom came from those challenges, it's like, wow. People say you can't change your past. You can change the way you view your past. And when you view your past, even other people that may have harmed you, it's like, wow, you know what? I learned a lot from that. I'm such a better person because of it. Then you're grateful for it. You have then changed the way you feel about your past. Notice what I'm saying. You change the way you feel about your past. That's how you change your past. All of a sudden, your past goes from negative to positive. But it's the feeling that matters, and this will become clear to you here very shortly. So the sky, part one, is not your limit. Do you know that you have unlimited potential available to you as soon as you realize the power of what I'm going to share with you? Unlimited potential in every area of your life. And let me tell you, I work with the High Performance Institute, and we look at the world's most accomplished people. We've been studying for 20 years, by the way. Do you know that the world's most accomplished people, even if something's good, they say, how can it be better? Even if their relationships are great, how can it be better? Their business is good, their business is, how can it be even better? How can I go beyond where I am now? You do not have to stay with status quo. And if you want to stay at status quo or mediocrity, then I'm going to ask you to reconsider. But you might be staying there out of fear because you know that it takes so much stress and struggle to get to the next level, and you're going to find out it's not the truth. Okay, you are the heir to the kingdom. Prosperity is your birthright, and you hold the key to more abundance in every area of your life than you could ever imagine, possibly imagine. You hold the key, and I'm about to give you back the key to your kingdom. I had somebody say to me once, why are you putting these quotes from people? We don't even know who they are sometimes. So Henry Nouwen was a Dutch Catholic priest, professor, writer, and he's focused on psychology and spirituality. I weave quotes all through this because different people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, have incredible wisdom to share. And that's why I like to do this. So, you ready to empower yourself with the secrets to success? Here is the key, and it'll make more sense as I go forward. But I want you to remember, if there's one thing you remember about this talk today, is this statement. Everything is energy. I want you all now to kind of repeat that to yourself. Everything is energy. You don't know what that means yet, but don't worry. And it's not woo-woo energy. I'm going to give you scientific. Everything is energy. And if you understand that one concept, you are going to completely shift everything because you have the power to shift your energy. And when you shift you, and amazing things will shift around you, things you thought were impossible. We're going to talk all about this. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla, you probably know the name, was a Serbian-American inventor who discovered the rotary magnetic field, which is the basis of most alternating current electric supply systems. Did anybody ever follow that? Anyway, you get the point. Very much involved as an inventor in the electrical supply. All right, let's look at this because there's science behind what I'm saying. You guys are all thinking, okay, who's this lady? She's talking about energy. This is a little bit weird. I don't know about this. Should I have come down here this morning? Well, at least I got some breakfast, right? Stick with me. This is scientifically proven. Now, don't worry, you don't have to remember all of this. I just want to give you some of this so you know that it's not just Janet McKee coming up with something crazy. Quantum mechanics is a theory within quantum physics. I know already, you're like, oh no, just don't worry. I'm going to get through this, and then we'll get to the way to apply this. Quantum mechanics is a theory within quantum physics. They have discovered, quantum physicists, yes, behind us, have discovered that everything is energy. Everything is energy. Remember, I told you that's a term you have to remember. Within the subatomic level, within an atom, which is the smallest piece, you got neutrons and electrons and things floating around. They discovered the smallest particle is a quark, and it's not solid. It's actually fluid. Everything is energy. Nothing is solid. Throwing a book at you, sorry. Not solid. Inside every atom is energy, is fluid. So why is that important? The next thing that they did, this is from decades ago, by the way. I think the original experiment, I think I mentioned in my book, might even be as much as 100 years ago. But they have had a hard time wrapping their brain around this. I've now wrapped my brain around it, and I'm going to explain this to you. So first of all, everything's energy. Got that? Nothing solid. What happened in the famous double slit experiment, has anybody ever heard about this? Okay, good. So I knew I was giving you some new information. The famous double slit experiment, they were actually shooting electrons through a board, but just imagine they're shooting beams of light. They're shooting beams of light through a board that has two slits, double slit. And if you're shooting light beams through double slits, they were focused on the slits. The beams of light came through in a pattern of slits on the other side, correct? Got that? Makes sense. Don't worry if you're not following me. We'll get to the things to understand. What happened was, when they no longer focused on the slits and they turned their attention, the electrons of the bit came through in a scattered pattern. Double slit, shooting beams of light through two slits. They're focused on the slits, their intention, their focus. You get slits. You get lines. They turn away. Random. Hard to believe. And even they could not believe it. And there's been controversy and argument within the physicists about all of this quantum theory and everything's going on. But they've been able to repeat the experiment. Not always. I'm going to talk about this. I've taken it a deep further. So they're like, wait a minute, the focus. I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you just one little section of my book about this. Your life is an open door to endless possibilities. But you are so conditioned by past experiences or current realities that you keep creating the same reality. If it was even slightly possible for you to use your inner power to influence the reality around you, would you be willing to give it a try? A couple people going, yes. Let me say that again. If it was even slightly possible for you to use your inner power to influence the reality around you, would you be willing to give it a try? Even if it was slightly possible. Are you willing to give it a try? Just like learning that Earth is round instead of flat. It's new information that is presented to us that changes our perception of reality. If you want to change a reality, then the way you look at reality must change. You've heard that before, but now we're understanding it from a deeper perspective. It is true that everything is energy. I told you I'd keep repeating. And nothing is solid. So if you are energetic, then can it be that your energy influences the world around you? According to R.C. Henry, professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University, in a 2005 essay, a fundamental conclusion of the new physics also acknowledges that the observer creates the reality. So remember in the double slit experience, they were observing, got one result. They didn't observe, got a different result. A fundamental conclusion of the new physics also acknowledges that the observer creates the reality. That's you. You create your reality from within you. Now, that was a lot of you like, oh gosh, I was coming for a quantum physics lecture this morning. Don't worry, we're done with that. The point of it, if you don't remember anything else, is just to know everything is energy, and yes, there's science behind this. It's not just Janet McKee. Okay? But Janet McKee took it a step further, and this was my discovery. It's not just the focus of your thoughts. It's the power behind those, how those thoughts make you feel. Because it's your feeling that is your energy. And don't worry about that little fact. I'm going to give you an example of how I discovered it, and it's going to make point. So I don't mean to sound so arrogant again, that actually I went deeper than the quantum physicists, but I did. And that's why you'll not hear this anywhere else, but right here, right now. Did you even know yet that you're coming for an insight that is so powerful? The change must start inside of you. What would it feel like to feel limitless? What would it feel like to be in the flow? Has anyone ever heard that concept, being in the flow? Do you know that an athlete, when they score the championship winning points, they're in the flow. There's something way beyond this physical world where they go. And that is how it happens. How are you guys doing? Are you following me? Are you glassing over? You're like, she's talking about quantum physics. I thought I was here to get men stressed. She's making me stressed. Don't worry. I'm going to make it all clear. Whole point. You got it. So where am I? Okay. So let's think about this. Now let me try to apply this with an analogy. Just like a radio dial. If you wanted hard rock station music, you wouldn't dial the classical station, correct? If you wanted talk radio, you wouldn't dial to the classicals or the hard rock station, right? So imagine you are the radio dial. What you dial into here is what you're going to get back from out there. Everything you give out, you get back. That's another thing I want you to maybe write that down. Remember that. Everything I give out, I get back. So one thing to do is, what am I giving out? What am I giving out right now? That's a question you might want to ask yourself. Because if I'm giving out anger to my spouse, what are you going to get back? You're going to get love. If I'm giving out fear and anxiety over the situation at work in my business, what are you going to get back? You think all of a sudden success is going to flow to you? You see what I'm talking about? So imagine you're the radio dial, Nikola Tesla. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. There's a purpose for that quote. Peter Hawkins did research years ago, I don't remember what year, and he wrote a book called Power versus Force. And he discovered that there's an energy vibration scale of our thoughts and our feelings. And this is very important to just be aware of. So what does it feel like right now? Imagine you have fear, guilt, and shame. Everybody just imagine that. I have fear about something, guilt, shame, anger. What does that feel like? It feels uncomfortable. Did everyone get that? Does it? When you think of anger, does that feel uncomfortable? All of a sudden you're aware of your energy and what you're giving off by noticing if something feels comfortable or uncomfortable. Okay. What does love, peace, joy feel like? Expansive, elevated, right? Does it? You're like, oh, I can't feel that right now. Don't worry. What I'm going to teach you is just how to climb the ladder. This is a very summarized version of the scale. There's like all kinds of, but notice something. You got neutral or acceptance right in the middle. So what we're going to learn today is even if you're really fearful and angry and upset about something, if you can just get yourself to neutral, to acceptance, you're already breaking down the walls of resistance. Remember I talked about at the beginning, stress and struggle builds walls that block solutions and opportunities from coming to you with ease. So you can work really hard to climb over those walls or just get to acceptance. Like, okay, I have a challenge. What is this challenge teaching me? What is it showing me? I know good has come from my challenges in the past. I've learned something from my challenges. What is this one teaching me? You're not in bliss. Acceptance. Now, let me point out a very important point. This is not about mindset. This will shock you. This is about the way it feels. Because if you have a really challenging situation in your life, does anybody, you have to tell me what it is. Anybody you've had some, especially over the past year, okay? And somebody comes up to you and says, you just need to think positively. You just need a positive mindset. Don't you just feel like punching them in the face? Like, don't tell me to think positively. You don't understand what I'm going through. You don't understand. My problems are real. You don't know what I've been through in the past. You know people like that? What happens when you're really stressing and struggling over something and you try to force a positive thought? You're going to learn today you make the situation worse. Positive thinking can actually be harmful for you. Sure, it's great when everything's going well. You want to keep that momentum going because things are flowing, right? But when you're facing a challenge, do not try to force a positive thought. Now, isn't that new information you've never heard before? This is part of my discovery. Bear with me. I know. How are we doing? I don't even pay attention to the time. But anyway, somebody's going to keep me. There's not even a clock in this room. Okay, so how? How do I climb from anger, fear, worry to love, joy, peace? Okay? 3 things. Number 1, you've got to take care of yourself. I know this sounds so basic. Do you know we studied the world's most accomplished people for 20 years at the High Performance Institute? And you know what we found? They make their well-being, their wellness, number 1 priority because they know, how can I have the energy, clarity, confidence that I need to deal with the stresses of the day, the challenges? How can I have the clarity, energy, confidence that I need to be successful if I'm exhausted? If I'm hyped up on sugar and junk food? If I'm not feeling good and energized? You can't. Wellness is a foundation. So it's like building a foundation of a home on toothpicks versus a solid foundation. How do we do that? Well, first of all, the foundation of success in life is good health. That is the substratum fortune. It is also the basis of happiness. I'll be darned if it isn't the fact that when I take better care of myself, it's easier to feel happy. So if anybody out there is complaining about being unhappy, take good care of yourself, at least as a foundation. You would be shocked at what that does to the way you feel emotionally. And what did you already learn a little bit today? That the way I feel emotionally is my energy that I give off and affects my reality. You all know this. This is common sense right here. Okay? So how do you feel right now? Just think about it. If anybody wants to share, I can share later. How do you feel right now? Kind of confused because I don't know what this lady's talking about, but I'm here. Good. What is one thing you could start doing to have more energy, physical energy, mental energy? What is one thing you could do to have more energy? Think about it. Maybe write it down. And then I have to ask you, what is stopping you from doing it? I know all of you. I don't know you, but I know you because I've worked with thousands and thousands of people. You're not doing it. Maybe you're doing some of it. I get people, well, I eat healthy. I work out now and then. Why are you exhausted? Why are you stressed out? Why are you miserable? Why are you, yelling at your spouse and kicking your dog on the way out to work in the morning? You start taking care of yourself. Next thing you know it, you're kissing your dog, you're kissing your spouse. Maybe not in that order, okay? When you leave for work in the morning, because you got a good night's sleep. You start your day with water and everything. Okay, so what's stopping you? You want to be successful. So did you realize that taking care of yourself is the key to success? How many people here want to be successful? Then why aren't you doing it? Okay, sorry. So what is the basis of that? Common sense. You must get high quality rest. Do you know that studies have shown if you did not get enough rest the night before, it's equivalent to being drunk the next day? How many people think that being drunk is going to lead to success? Okay. Research has shown that masters of their trade sleep an average of 8 hours and 36 minutes every night. How many people are sleeping 8 hours and 36 minutes? And I know it. I always feel better. All right. You got to make things sleep a priority. You got to eat real food. So I'm not only a speaker and an author and a CEO of Sanaview. Sauna, by the way, was originally what I discovered was Latin for health and wellness. So I give you a view on how to live a healthier, happier, more successful life. But it's interesting, as I shifted my energy, I discovered a further definition of sauna. It's Latin for one who emanates light. Why, when I first came up with that name a decade or two ago, did I only see the definition of health and wellness? Sauna is Latin for health and wellness. Because I wasn't ready to know the deeper definition is that sauna is one who emanates light. I was stunned when I stumbled upon this definition of sauna only recently. Things come to you when you're ready, too. Did you know that? What? But it just so happens that Sanaview, we also own a farm. Yeah, I'm a farmer, too. Yep, sure am. I own a tractor, muck boots. My favorite shoes. I don't wear shoes like this. I don't put these shoes on for you. I live in my muck boots. We had a 52-acre organic. It's actually a historic landmark organic farm out near Seven Springs. And I'm going to tell you a story about that. But anyway, I decided to develop a farm as part of my wellness business because I wanted people to understand that one of the keys to health and wellness is to get back to the rhythms of Mother Nature. You go to bed when it gets dark out. You wake up when the sun rises. You drink fresh water. You eat real food. You move your body and you breathe fresh air. Is that unusual for anybody? It's common sense. The key is, on a farm, we grow organic produce, is real food grown naturally the way Mother Nature intended. And I highly recommend lots of variety of colors from the plant kingdom because that gives you all the antioxidants and phytonutrients, and that's what energizes you. You feel energized when you eat all these colorful, naturally grown plant foods, and of course other things that you need as well. Move your body. You do not need 1,000 hours in the gym. So I get that all the time from my clients. I don't have time to work out. There's thousands of hours in the gym. I don't have time. I'm so busy. I'm so stressed out. I can't go. You don't need 1,000 hours in the gym. You know what this we discovered? 10 minutes of whole body workouts per day. I do recommend go for a walk, 30 minutes. You can do that lunch, whatever. I do a thing where I return phone calls while I'm out for a walk because then I'm getting my exercise while I'm being productive, okay? You just need a few minutes. And finally, now, we're going to talk about mindset, but I already introduced you to the idea, positive thinking is not the answer. It's not your mindset. Yes, mindset is important when things are going well and you're feeling happy and successful and you want that momentum to keep going. I can't find my phone. I have absolutely no idea what time it is. We're just going to keep going. You guys okay? Maybe someone could tell me. Am I at an hour yet? No? Okay. All right. It's not your mindset completely. It's your energy. What have I been telling you? Everything is energy. You must be out of your mind to be successful. What am I saying? I want you to get out of your head. Get into your energy. How many people here have been able to control all of their thoughts all the time? You only have positive thoughts. Anybody? Stop trying to do it. You're not going to do it. It's impossible. It is impossible to control all of your thoughts all of the time, correct? So that's another thing that's causing us stress and struggle. We're like, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to have a positive thought, but I'm having a negative thought. Oh no, I got to fight against that negative thought. I got to get rid of my negative thoughts. That's stressful because you can't do it. So stop trying. Get out of your head. You're human. You're going to have thoughts that feel good. You're going to have thoughts that don't feel good. It's natural. And it's actually meaningful that you do have negative and positive thoughts. We're going to share that in a moment. So get out of your head. Stop trying to control your head. It is far simpler to control the way you feel. I am going to share a story with you of how I discovered this. You ready? I'm working with clients. I do a lot of work with clients one-on-one. I go into organizations and work with groups, on-site workshops, off-site leadership, empowerment retreats. I have live group coaching on my computer. We get people together with business leaders, and I invite everybody. Actually, you can join, no charge. I'll give everybody the invitation right here. We get business people and leaders, all different levels, all different walks, just together to share ideas, how we're working with this information and how we can massage it, how we can improve it. It's so powerful when the power of group energy, even over Zoom. So I'm working with a client of mine. She's a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. And she said to me, Janet, I want to work with you. Business is really stressful, but things are going well in business. But it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. And she said, but I'm really scared because I have this pain in my abdomen. And I'm worried that all the stress and pressure from my job is causing me to develop a chronic illness. And I'm really scared. She said, but don't worry. I took all the workshops, all the seminars, all the webinars about mind and body connection. And I understand that if I just think positively about this, then things will start to shift. And so I go to bed at night and I say these affirmations to myself. And I said to her, I'm like, Monica, what are you saying to yourself? I didn't know. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That helps. What are you saying to yourself? She goes, I go to bed at night and I say, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I'm healthy. All of a sudden, this is a true story. It was at that moment, I'm like, oh my goodness. She's forcing a positive thought about something she's upset about. But I could feel her fear. I could feel the fear. I said, okay, wait a minute, Monica, just stop right there. I don't think that's helping you. It's a good idea. It's helping you. Because I think you're at the low rung of a ladder. You have concern and you have fear from all the stress in your business. If you try to leap from the low rung of a ladder to the top rung of a ladder in one leap, I'm healthy. What happens if you try to leap from the low rung of a ladder, top rung of a ladder in one leap? Anybody? You fall off the ladder and you break your leg or worse. I said to her, you're trying to leap too far, too fast. It doesn't feel right. So I take you one rung at a time. Monica, you're a smart woman, right? Yes, I am. You're so smart that you're going to begin to seek solutions because your body is giving you a sign that something's wrong. Something's out of balance. Yes, it is. So your body's letting you know that something's out of balance and you need to find a solution. Yes, it is. So actually that pain is really helpful. Yes, it is. Do you know, by the way, her pain started to dissipate as soon as I said that? Because these were thoughts, small, the rung. I call it, you got to gain a grip and find your footing as you climb the rung. Then at one point, as soon as I said the next thing, I started feeling comfortable again. She's like, okay, they're going a little bit too far. Okay, we're going to walk away from the ladder, walk away from the subject for a while. And then we're going to do anything and everything that helps you to feel better. What are some things that help you to feel better? You've heard some of these things before, right? Gratitude, appreciation, right? Give thanks, but don't do it in your head. We do that. I'm thankful for my home and my family and my job while you're feeling miserable. What does it feel like to experience your home and your family and be so grateful for what the job offers you, your business, okay? Feels different. But other things, we know, take care of yourself. We already know that, right? Experience Mother, get on Mother Nature, go for a walk. Get the negative ions, which are positive for you, out from Mother Nature, breathe fresh air, sing and dance. I love to do this. My son gets a kick out of me. I wake up in the morning, I put my earbuds in, I sing and dance around the house while I'm feeding the dog and making breakfast. Again, I think, serious. Sometimes he's gone and he comes home and I'm in the house singing and dancing while I'm cooking dinner. He like flips the light switch because I got my earbuds in and I don't hear him. He's like, Mom, I'm home. He laughs. Okay, but why not start your day singing, dancing, doing something that feels good to help elevate and expand your energy off the subject of what you're worried about. Okay, clear clutter, play more, laugh more, do something you love to do, spend time with people you love, express more, volunteer. Where's the light of life? You're worried about something? Go feed food to the people light of life. Oh my gosh. Totally shifts the way you feel. You get out of your head about everything you're worried about and you get into your energy because it feels amazing. Okay? Just think. So what? What things do you have that you do that take you to the place of positivity? We were talking earlier about how much we hate to golf, how hard we're really about at golfing. When I was in the corporate world with Oracle, one of my clients was U.S. Steel, and I had to take the vice president and president out to golfing all the time. Oh, that was the most stressful thing I ever had to do. I don't know whoever came up with that game. Little ball, little club, and that little hole, 250 yards away. Who came up with that? Right? I figured out if I just played my 9-iron the whole time. I drove with it. It wouldn't go far, but it would go straight. Right? But I had a client of mine who was really struggling. He said that he finds peace on the golf course. That's his place where he's out in Mother Nature. He's enjoying, right? So what is it? What is it in your life that brings you to a place of positivity? I want you to have that in your hip pocket at all times. I want you to have the whole list of things that, okay, oh my goodness, I'm in traffic and I have a really important appointment. Like, what am I going to do? At the moment, you say, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to pull out my toolbox. I'm going to put on a song I love. I'm going to sing and dance. I'm going to notice the beautiful sky, the skyline of Pittsburgh, whatever that is. Hey, I love my car. Just get out of. Okay, this all sounds simplistic, doesn't it? But just bear with me, because then we're going to really get into this. I already told you the positive thinking is not the answer. Guess what else? Negative thoughts are a positive thing. Has anybody ever heard that before? What on earth does that mean? Okay, think about it. You're driving on the highway and you're heading for the life of your dreams. Clear road ahead. You're driving along. Next thing you know, you start to daydream and you veer off the side of the road and you hit the rumble strips. Boom, 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 boom. They feel uncomfortable. But aren't they a good thing? They're keeping you from driving off the cliff. That's what your negative thoughts are. So you're feeling good about your day and what's happening, and you suddenly feel uncomfortable because you realize, okay, that's your awareness that, oh, what am I giving off? I'm feeling it. Why? What am I thinking? Oh, well, I'm thinking that I'm really worried about this upcoming meeting. And then you just say, oh, that's okay. I'm human. I'm going to have a negative thought. What thought could I choose instead? I'm a bright person. My business is going well. I really like this client and I want to be open to solutions. You see, it's even just getting to neutral. So if it wasn't for that flag on the side of the road, those rumble strips, those negative thoughts that felt uncomfortable, you wouldn't know that you were creating a negative outcome for your life, for the outcome for that meeting. You wouldn't have been aware that you're creating something bad. But now you know that everything is energy, and what you give out, you get back. So the negative thought feels uncomfortable. That's, okay. That's a good thing because it's helping you know. So what are you feeling right now emotionally? Now we're out of the physical, emotionally. And what thoughts are you choosing to think that feel uncomfortable? Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to put all this to work, okay? Can somebody, I started at 8:30. Can somebody please tell me what time it is? What? 9? I can't. 9:40. Okay. So, do you have things in your life that you want? Everyone? I hope so. When you stop wanting something better for your life, then you just stop living. So you always want something, right? Something new. So we're going to now apply what we learned to goal setting. And this is really important. And you've all been through goal setting workshops, right? Everybody been through probably thousands of goal setting workshops in your life. And don't you think you haven't achieved all your goals? So isn't it a bunch of baloney sometimes? Like, I know, I gotta write my goals, I gotta do this. Well, we know the baloney is bad for you, so we're gonna get rid of that. But did you know that 96% of people never achieve their goals? You know how everybody sets New Year's resolutions, right? New Year's, we're gonna do this. Okay, so a lot of people want to lose weight in the new year. So I've heard it say, if you want to lose weight, just eat in front of the mirror naked. I am not telling you to do that. Unless you want to, of course. You know you've been locked down too long and kind of lonely when you're eating in front of the mirror, right? That's not what you do. I'll give you a better solution than that. Okay. So you ready to achieve your goals? This is why you're here. You guys sticking with me? Don't worry, we're going to get into this more. First thing, make a commitment, right? You're going to make a commitment. I want to be, right? I know. I want more in my life. I'm not getting naked, don't worry. Okay, so, I'm just getting hot. Write your goals down. You all know this, blah, blah, blah. It helps you get clarity. Are you writing your goals down? I want you on a success. But write them in the present tense. So some people have heard this. It's a more newer way of thinking about your goals. Write them in the present tense as if they're already achieved. But here's what's important. So let's say you want the promotion to vice president. If you say, I want the promotion, you're coming from a place of lack, that you don't have the promotion. What am I telling you? Everything you give out, you give back. Everything's energy. So what is the energy of not having the promotion, of being less than? We live in the gap between where we are and what we want. It's like the football field. So we're here, and the goal line's way over there. That doesn't feel too great. It almost puts an interesting question around goal setting, period. Because when we're setting goals, we're focusing on things we don't have, that we wish we did. That puts you in the gap. But if you can say, I am the vice president, if that's too far for you and it doesn't feel right, it's how it feels. Important. Say, I love that I am focusing my intention on my work to earn a promotion. I am excited about what I'm going to accomplish today that's going to put me in a better position to earn that promotion. I cannot wait to be the vice president because I know I'm doing good work. You see that? We're climbing the ladder a little bit on that. Just things that feel better. But you say them in the present tense because you want to get the feeling. You want to lose weight? You say, I love the idea of exploring new healthy ways to live and eat. I'm really enjoying the intention I have to feel better about myself. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. In the present tense, as if they're already achieved. But they've got to feel good. So why wouldn't they feel good? Because you don't believe them. And you've all heard about this, your beliefs, okay? And guess what? How many people out there, there's so many speakers and authors, I'm sorry, they're all brilliant and I've learned a lot from them. But they all say you got to fight against your limiting beliefs. If you fight against something, what happens? It gets stronger, right? And power, you give it the power. You don't fight against something that you don't want. You just bring in new ones. And it's like planting seeds of new beliefs. And you're going to give those your focus. So you're going to nurture them and you're going to fertilize them and you're going to weed and you're going to get a weed around, and you're going to help them grow. I'm a farmer, so I use that example. Okay, so what are we talking about there? I want you to bite into your beliefs. How many people like hot peppers? These are cayenne peppers from my farm. Anybody have a bad belief? I'm going to make you eat this. No. I only touch the one. If anybody wants a dried cayenne pepper, take on with them. Feel free. They're organic, grown with love. Okay, so a belief is just a thought you've been thinking for a long time. So here's the science behind this, okay? You actually have a brain filter called reticular activating system. I know I'm getting scientific again. Just bear with me, you understand. So you have developed throughout your life this brain filter. But the filter is there for a reason, to protect you from sensory overload. When you look at a website and there's like 20 things going on, you can really only look at one thing at a time. Okay? So you have this brain filter that you've developed to protect you. It's a good thing. But you've developed the brain filter all throughout your life based on what you've been told, what you've been taught, these beliefs that you've developed. And have you ever heard of confirmation bias? You only see what you believe, right? It's because of what you've done in here and you've developed this. So we're in the head again, right? And that's a challenging situation. But don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to change that. So you're only going to see, if you believe you are too old, not smart enough, not capable of the promotion, not your business, you're just not good enough in business to make whatever. If you believe all of that, that's what you're going to get, right? You're going to get back what you give out, and it's all based on these filters. And you're going to continue to see. So if you believe you're not smart enough, what happens? You find yourself in a situation where it's proven to you, again, because your brain filter only wants to see things it agrees with. That's interesting. So you're only going to see what your brain filter already knows, that you're not smart enough, that money doesn't grow on trees, that you must stress and struggle for success, right? You're just going to keep seeing reasons to confirm that, confirmation bias. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you how to change your brain filter. So beliefs are very expensive. And so I ask you, what are you buying into? What beliefs are you buying into? And people say, well, beliefs are just a thought, Janet. They're free. No, what are you buying into? They're very, very expensive. When I was just doing the health and wellness thing, I had a woman, Dr. Anna, she came to me. And she came in, she was fine when she came to the office, but she said, I just want to make sure I'm healthier, stay in good health. And I said, well, what happened? She said, I was born with scoliosis. And as an adult, I slipped on the ice and hurt my back. And the doctor told me I had to be on the couch the rest of my life. I should learn to knit. She said, so I went out and saw 5 more doctors. True story. She lives in the North Hills. 5 more doctors, and they all told me the same thing. There was nothing I could do. I will never walk again. Learn how to knit. You're going to be on the couch. She did not buy into that belief. She worked on her. She meditated. She prayed. She worked on her. She thought about health. She took good care of herself. She walked into my office perfectly fine. She just wanted to learn how to be healthier and stay healthy. She did not buy into the belief. That belief would have been very expensive. I work with Dr. Stan Wetchler. He doesn't live in Pittsburgh anymore. He moved to Asheville, North Carolina with his wife. Years ago, oh gosh, I think it's almost a decade or two ago, 2 decades ago, he was told, he was a regular doctor here, told he had stage 4 colon cancer that metastasized to his liver and his lungs or something, and he only had 2 months left to live. His wife said, oh, no, we're not going to buy into that belief. They went off to an institute that actually teaches the same thing I teach about health and wellness, and the true story, he came back cancer-free. He's 16, 18 years cancer-free. We actually did some workshops together years ago, and I'm still in touch with him. So his wife did not buy into the belief. These beliefs are very expensive. So you just got to be aware of. So here's the thing. We're being aware of our energy. We're being aware of what we're giving off. I want you to be aware, just be aware of where you limit yourself from your beliefs. And the more you're aware of those limiting beliefs, awareness is required so that you can change. We have this farmhouse or a farm, and one year the people that were living in the farmhouse went away for the whole month of July. I don't know if you remember that, like 8 years ago. It rained every single day the month of July. Well, they went away and they closed up the house real tight. And I had this hemp rug in the living room, and they came back in August and the rug had some mold on it. And so we Googled online what to do about that. They said, put it out in the sun. Put the rug out in the sun, and it dissolved the mold. Of course, we cleaned the rug and everything, but it killed the mold. So what I'm doing is bringing the light of awareness into your brain to get the moldiness out. Okay, just be aware. And then do you fight against the limiting belief? No. You're going to create new ones. What are things to start creating? Like, hey, no, I'm smart. I can figure this out. I've been through challenges before, and they taught me, right? That's what we're going to do. So very belief. So Napoleon Hill said, with the mind of a man can conceive and believe it can achieve. Do you know, I was preparing these slides yesterday, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, I think I have conceive spelled wrong. Believe is IE, achieve is IE. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, I before E, except after C, except for the sound of long A. Remember that from grade school? You thought quantum physics was confusing. The American language, right? Okay, so interesting. So conceive, we think that the amount of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. So we think conceive, achieve. When I think of, I can achieve through grit and hard work. We forget about the believe part. The believe is the meat of the sandwich. Actually, I'm somewhat vegetarian, so I like the sprouts and the tomatoes and the cucumbers and all that. Okay, so the belief is really important. Very important. So you got to align your beliefs with your goal. I'm going to get to the most important part of this. Bear with me. Sometimes we have things in our life that keep happening. That's a pattern that you keep living. Does anybody have those? Like every time I get in a relationship, it feels, every time I am in this situation with my business and my clients, I keep having the same problem. That's a pattern. And again, just be aware of it. When you're aware of a repeating pattern, all you have to do is say, okay, there I am again. I'm just aware of it. I just smile. Do you know that smile increases blood flow to your brain? It helps to elevate things. So just smile. And it elevates, expand your energy. Next thing you know, that pattern no longer has a hold on you. Thich Nhat Hanh, he's a spiritual leader and speaks about mindfulness and all of that. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile. Sometimes your smile is the source of your joy. Fear then creeps in. Right? We got these things we're fearful about. I'm just going to zip through this because I'm going to get the most important part of the goal setting. And this is all in the book, Stressless Success, or on my website, whatever, on how to manage fear. Fear, that's another thought you're just imagining in your head. A tiger is not attacking you. You are just imagining a bad outcome. Worry is visualizing what you don't want to have happen. So just know, you just got to balance that irrational thought. Fears are irrational. They really are. And if you know everything you give out, you get back. If you're giving out fear about something you're worried about, you're going to create that kind of an outcome. I mean, that's a really tricky thing. But there's a whole thing on how to resolve fear, identify it, be aware of it. Look at it. I talk about it's like you're fishing. And you're throwing the line into the water. Next thing you know it, I caught something. That's a fear. Reel it in. You want to look at it. So fear is another 4-letter word that begins with a letter F, fish. Another 4-letter word that begins with the letter F, not the word that you thought I was going to say. Okay, so Just look at it, evaluate it, identify it, and then you're aware of it. And then you're going to learn how to shift it. Understand where it's coming from. It's probably some old beliefs, a reticular activating system. Always live healthfully. Know that when you feel good, it's easier to deal with these things that concern you. Here's a key thing from the High Performance Institute. Focus on what you're going to gain instead of what you may lose. It's like somebody that's afraid to fly. Like, oh, don't get on, I'm going to be stuck in there, and what if something happens? Instead, think about the great city you're going to see, the people you're going to meet, the interesting foods you're going to taste, right? Focus on what you're going to gain. Feels better. Okay. Make it fun. You got something you're afraid of? Okay, let me play with this. Let me play with the way I feel. Let me go out for a walk. Let me listen to some music and dance and sing and make it fun. Practice. Do you know an eagle? A baby eagle is born. Do you think they just jump off the branch and start to fly? They walk up and down the branch, flapping their arms, and then they give a little hop. And they practice what it feels like a little bit to be airborne before they take the leap. So practice. People are afraid of speaking. I'm way past that. I used to be. I just had to get up in Toastmasters and Dale Carnegie and practice, right? Detach from the outcome. We worry so much about what other people are going to think or feel, whatever. Just let it go and do your best, because your energy now is what's important. Accept the situation. Something has you scared. Just accept, okay, I'm scared. It's natural. I'm going to be worried about something. Just accept it. It's okay. Visualization, I'm going to go into visualization a little bit more, is actually the way to change your reticular activating system. To change your brain filter from limiting beliefs and fear and all of this. You know, your brain does not know the difference between something real and something imagined. So if there's something you're fearful about or upset about or worried about, can you imagine a good outcome? Visualize it. What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Feel like is the most important part. Okay. Little by little, that's going to change your brain filter. Release the struggle. Thank you, God, for showing me whatever your beliefs are, showing me what I'm fearful about, because now I can address it. I'm aware of it. Now you're going to take inspired action. Let me tell you, this is a secret to productivity. If you take action from stress and struggle, fear and worry, what kind of result are you going to get? All you have to do, this is very important, everybody make sure you pay attention. Everybody goes to all these things about improve productivity. You can do all the mechanical things to improve your productivity, and we talk about that in high performance. But all I want you to do is check on your energy before you take action. And do anything and everything to slightly shift your energy before you take action. You're going to get a better result. That's productivity. Productivity is not about getting all your things done in action. It's about getting results from the action. Nobody talks about that. But when you take, let's say you have to make an important phone call. Just take a split second and say, okay, I'm thinking about the sky, the blue sky. Now make the phone call. It took you a split second. You're going to get a better result, and that's productivity, and that leads to success. I told you from the beginning that productivity is the hugest issue, companies. Okay, so like an ego, you're going to learn how to fly. Positivity. Positive results only come from positive action, not from fear. Positive feelings or acceptance or elevate, expanded, then you take action, not from fear. So somebody wrote a book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Ever heard that? I say no way. I'm not saying you don't do anything if you have some fear, but get to a better feeling place, even slightly, around the fear before you take action. You never feel gripping fear and do it anyway. You're going to get a bad outcome. Just try to get to a slightly better place. I'm going to be perfect at it. Time and a deadline. You know, when you have to catch a flight, you have to get packed. You have to get in the car. You have to go park the car. You got to go through security. You have to get there on time. So think about that with the things that you want. Do not state the how. So we're back to goal setting. Okay, this whole goal setting thing. And don't worry, I teach a whole thing. Remember, I told you this is hours and hours of teaching. I'm giving to you in 2 hours, but you get the idea. Why would I say never state the how on how you're going to achieve your goal? If you are thinking, how I'm going to achieve, okay, here's my goals. Okay, how am I going to do it? You're coming from here. If you try to define the how, you are limiting other possibilities that you never would have thought of. Let me give you a silly example. I bought a farm. You guys heard I'm a farmer, right? And we started developing, I hired a couple people, we started developing organic produce. And we're going to grow organic produce and we're going to sell it at the market. Well, has anyone ever done that? It's funny, first time I got my first little pint of blueberries. Oh, look at this. This is so cool. And then I'm like, these blueberries cost me $300,000. Okay, so how, right? So I'm like, oh no, so we're losing money. Every year we're growing produce, we're trying different things, we're trying to get better, more efficient at it. We're losing money, losing money. I thought I was going to lose the farm. I was learning these concepts. Of course, I was stressing over the farm. I'm going through a divorce, I had all these financial things, like, oh no. Finally, I started playing around with this idea of it's me. I could say, well, you can only sell organic tomatoes for so many. There's a limited, right? I can blame everything else around me. The labor costs so much, the fertilizer, all this stuff. I could blame everything around me. I said, no, it's me. I'm creating this. So I started playing around with these ideas. Oh, I was trying everything back then. Remember, I was researching with everybody. I was like chanting over the strawberry field one day. Please, my farm manager came over and said, what are you doing? You sound like you're talking to yourself. I'm chanting over the strawberries. I was trying everything, okay? Finally, I started discovering this. I'm playing with me, expanding me, my energy. I would drive to the farm, and instead of worry, I would imagine the sky and the birds. I got interviewed on the radio by a medical doctor because I do all this stuff, right? And after the interview, I mentioned I have a farm. After the interview, I get this phone call, true story. This young man calls me on the phone and said, Ms. McKee, I heard your interview on the radio today. I heard you have a farm. Do you mind if I come out and see it? I'm like, sure, come on out. I'm thinking, oh gosh, this farmer losing so much money. This young man comes out to my farm and he said, I love your farm. Can I get married here? Now, some of you, that's obvious because people are getting married in barns these days. I was going through a divorce. I didn't know anything about marriages or weddings. It was the last thing on my mind. I'm like, you want to do what? It was way before the barn. It was cleaned up. There was hay everywhere, right? I'm like, sure, go ahead. Whatever. Very successful. Everybody had a ball. Several hundred people were at my farm. Guess what? Word of mouth got out. Said, you got to go to this farm and have your wedding. It has become the biggest money-making property I have ever owned. Did it come from me thinking about how I was going to solve the problem? If I would have thought 1,000 hours through strategy meetings and focused concentration, I would have never come up with that because I didn't know that it is possible. I would have come up with all kinds of other things that would have been a lot harder and make a little bit of money. This came to me. I have to tell you something else. Are you ready? You won't believe this. You won't think it's me. I'm dealing with this divorce. All my attorneys, I'm paying them all the money I had left. These high-priced attorneys dealing with this complicated divorce. I'm never going to be able to save my properties. Did you hear the story from the beginning, right? My husband leaves. I was working me. I couldn't control that. I was working on me, working on me, working on me. Elevating me. I couldn't worry anymore. I just had hope for the best, faith, hope, peace, the best I could. Well, one day, my ex-husband, he said, let's get together. The attorneys aren't figuring it out for us. Let's figure it out. We came up with a solution that was good for both of us that enabled me to save my properties. The attorneys told me it was impossible. They told me, Janet, you moved a mountain. That was impossible. But let me tell you, here's the key thing to the story. There was a billboard on the side of the road on the way to my farm for a bankruptcy attorney. So every time I drove to my farm while I'm dealing with this, I would read bankruptcy. And that felt like a knife in my heart. It felt bad. I noticed how it felt. So I couldn't get rid of the bankruptcy billboard, right? So every time I drove to the farm, I knew when it was coming, I would turn away, and I replaced the word bankruptcy with bank riches. I kept saying bank riches, bank riches, bank riches. Did I feel blissful? No. It just felt slightly better. Just slightly better. Bank riches, bank riches. I would not look at the sign. I would drive past. True story. The bankruptcy sign went away. It had been there for 20 years. Okay, Janet, no, that's ridiculous. That wasn't you. Well, what happened? Did the bankruptcy attorney move away? Did he retire? Did he go bankrupt? Who knows? I thought that was a joke. So, was it me? When I changed me, the bankruptcy sign went away. Now, that's way beyond, I know, you guys are thinking, okay, she's crazy. Notice small things in your life. That's the way to start this. Notice small things that start to happen. You'd be like, that couldn't have been me. It's you. When something good happens in your life, say, that was me. I must have had good energy. When something not good happens, which, by the way, there's a resilience talk in my book, with not things that we think is bad, we label as bad, is not necessarily bad. They might be good. You don't know. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. When something that appears to be not good may actually be good, you don't know, say, that was me. Well, was it about me that affected that? So anyway, don't worry about focusing on the how, but it doesn't mean you don't say the how. Oh, there's my picture of my farm. Sorry, I was talking about my farm way too early. That's my historic barn. The barn is historic. The goal should feel somewhat attainable. Okay, so does it make sense to me have a goal that I want to be an NFL quarterback or any NFL player for that matter? No, that's a little bit unattainable, but it still should be a reach goal. It should be a little bit beyond you, the goals that you define. Why do you want to achieve this goal? Okay, everybody, please. This is the most important part of goal setting you've never heard before. And this is the missing piece. Y'all with me? I know it's been long. You guys are being great. Why do you want the goal to be achieved? So let me give you an example. Somebody wants a new house. So I ask why. Well, I want to be in a better neighborhood for my family. Oh, why? Well, then I'll feel safer. Or I want a bigger house. Why? Because we need more space. Why? Then it would feel more spacious. Everything that you want and desire is because there's a feeling attached to it. Now, we all do set goals because we believe our goals are going to make us happy. So we think, well, when I get the new house, the new relationship, the new job, the promotion, then I'll be happy. But you live in the gap. It's all backwards. I want you to get happy first. What am I talking about? Okay? What's it going to feel like to have the new house? Now, I want you to have your goal list that you wrote. I want you to write down what it's going to feel like. That's the list. You want to read your goal list every day? That's the list where I want you to hang out and spend some time. What does it feel like to have the promotion, the money, the relationship, the better health, the house, whatever it is that you want? What does it feel like? And I want you to just hang out there for a while. What does it feel like? And I want you to visualize as if it's real. Start changing your brain filter. Get a better feeling energy. Don't have to be a bliss, just slightly better. Nobody has ever told you this before. Has everyone hearing me? It's about the way the goal is going to feel like. What does it feel like as if it's already real? If you say, I want the new house, you come from a place you don't have the new house. And you're here and the new house is there and you're in the gap. That doesn't feel great. But I have a new house, or I'm excited about searching for a new house. Where's Berkshire Hathaway? That's you. Okay. Right? I want the new commercial building that goes commercial. Okay? I want the new warehouse. No, it's like, gosh, I'm looking forward to working with Berkshire Hathaway and figuring out what opportunities are out there, what buildings are available. I'm really excited about the process of discovering our new commercial building for the business, right? There's a reason why I walked around and talked to all of you before. Okay, so what does it feel like? That's the goal list. You've never heard that anywhere. And I want you to tell. It's almost scary when it happens. I have to tell you. I had a list. I had all my goal. I failed at this once when I first learned this. I had my list. There's a cabin behind my farm. I wanted it. I'm like, I want the A-frame. I have the A-frame. I own the A-frame behind my farm. I was saying to myself, I own the A-frame. But it was impossible. It was owned by a family. They were never going to sell it. I own the A-frame behind my farm. I was saying to myself, I own the A-frame behind my farm. That'd be really cool to own the A-frame. Guess what? I got a phone call from a resident, and she said, are you interested in buying the A-frame? I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I called everybody. I'm like, I can't believe this. The A-frame that was never going to be available. Oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden my father said, oh, you don't want to do that. A colleague of mine said, Janet, don't do that. You can't take on more. You got too much on your plate. All of a sudden fear came in. Guess what went away? A-frame. Somebody else buy it. So be careful. Okay, but this is like, it's so powerful, and you got to watch what happens. But it was interesting. And now I believe, once I get back to imagining the A-frame, that someday I will have it. But it's so powerful. It's really incredible. Visualize the goals if it's already achieved, because it gives you the feeling. You don't stay in the gap of the lack. You get to as if it's real. You know, the guy scoring the touchdown, he got the feeling. Read your goals twice a day, create a list of action steps. That's it. Now, on a separate piece of paper, just brainstorm possible hows. But don't limit yourself to the how. Of course, you can brainstorm. But this is really important because you want to know what are your most important things you want to accomplish each day. And that is key to productivity. Every day, you don't just start reacting to everybody. Actually, there's a secret in high performance. You don't start your day on email. I want you to know that. If you start your day on email, you lose 30% productivity because email is the inbox of what everybody else wants you to do. But when you get clear on your most important goals to move the ball forward, you make sure you schedule designated block times on your daily schedule, uninterrupted. You turn off your phone, you turn off your email, you close your office door, you focus on the thing that's moving your ball forward. Then take an energizing break. You want to re-energize, move your body, breathe fresh air, drink some fresh water, all that, and then go back and set a block time of reading emails. Did you ever know if you could spend all day on email? It could suck up your whole day. But if you set uninterrupted block time to get the most important things done, and then in between a block time of reading your emails, you're going through those emails because you got 50 minutes. Okay? That's a little secret of productivity, which I can teach you. Okay, so are you ready? Are you with me? What does empowerment feel like? I'm now empowering you. It's all in you. Everything that is happening is within you. What does empowerment feel like? You're no longer a victim. What does invincibility feel like? What does success feel like? What does it feel like? How about before you go to bed tonight, you feel, what does it feel like? I'm going to imagine what I want. Imagine the success. Don't get away from the news. Don't do negative things before you go to bed at night. Go to bed feeling good. Wake up in the morning. The first thing we do when we wake up in the morning, we worry. Notice this. I want you to start paying attention to your energy when you wake up in the morning. Be like worry and fear. Like, oh, world's most accomplished people know this. They're like, okay, that's all right. That's human. I'm human. That's going to be natural. They bring in better feeling thoughts. They just crowd it out. So I used to say to myself, oh, today's going to be a good day. I wonder what interesting people I'm going to be, blah, 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 right? And I noticed my day was going better because I was feeling a little bit better instead of wallowing in worry and fear. Do you know what I say to myself now when I get up in the morning? I say, today is going to be the best day of my life. And I feel like what it would feel like to have one of the best days of my life. And guess what today is? Best day of my life. Because I'm sharing the secret to success with all of you brilliant people. Would I want to be doing anything else right now than this? So was it my energy? Where I happened to meet Rhonda? And then Jim happened to mention that he was part of this and happened, right? Robert, then, right? I don't know. Maybe it was my energy that we ended up crossing paths. But this is the best day of my life. And if you can apply what I'm teaching, you're going to look back someday and say, this is the best day of your life. Okay, I'm here. You're with me just a little bit more. We're going to talk about real life experiences with people. Okay. Regain your personal powers. Work at the power of the visualization. You were given the ability to imagine. That is an ability that humans have. The power of your imagination is how you visualize and imagine and get the feeling of what you want. That changes your brain filter, it shifts your energy, and you begin to create. Napoleon Hill, the only trouble with the world today lies in our lack of understanding of the power of imagination. This is not new. John Muir, the power of imagination makes us infinite. Albert Einstein, quantum physicist, by the way. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Look at that. I'm just realizing what he said. I'm just realizing this. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is only up here. Imagination is when you feel it. Okay? Nelson Mandela, the power of imagination created the illusion that my vision went much farther than the naked eye could actually see. Success comes from the energy that you give off from within you. Success through everyday happiness. Do things to elevate and expand the way you feel, no matter what is happening around you. Do things, even little things, to climb the ladder of thought and feeling, and be aware of when you're feeling uncomfortable. So somebody very famous, I don't know who, ever said, you must see it to believe it. Have you heard that statement? You must see it to believe it. I don't know who said that. But there's a very famous author that years later, decades later, I don't know where this came from, this first, you must see it to believe it. Wayne Dyer, bestseller, said, you must believe it to see it. So he focused on your beliefs. You must believe that you can get that vice president promotion to eventually see it. And that is true. You got to believe, you got to have faith, you got to have hope, you got to trust, right? I have a new statement. You must feel it to see it. What does it feel like to get the promotion to vice president? And live as if it's real. Feel it a little bit every day. Then you will see the promotion. You will never hear that anywhere but right here. Get out of your head, get into your energy, because it's easier to do little things and feel better. Okay, so positivity paves a pathway to progress and prosperity. That's my list. Okay? One little thing, and then I'm going to give you some examples, case studies of people. You guys with me just a few more minutes? I have no idea what time it is. Okay, all right. So imagine we have the painter has the goal of creating a painting. Once the painting's done, it's on the wall, and it's over. But it's the creation of the painting that is most fascinating, the most fun, the most interesting. He's picking colors and textures and creating the painting. That's what I want you to do for your life. Have fun. You've heard about enjoy the journey, but that's what I'm talking about. It's the creation. It's having the goal that makes life interesting. I think I have a quote in here on that. It's having the thing that you want to get to the next level that drives you, that builds desire, that makes life interesting. Paulo Coelho, he was the author of The Alchemist. He's a famous novelist. It's a novel. It's the possibility of making a dream come true that makes life interesting. Once it's done, it's done. That's great. That's fine. But you ever notice then you want the next thing and the next thing? And that's life. That's fueling you. Okay. Master the masterpiece of your life. Enjoy creating. Now start playing with your energy. Play with what you feel like each and every day throughout the day, and be the painter choosing the colors and textures for your masterpiece. Only one goal you should ever set. Forget about goal setting altogether. And that is to live with joy. Elevate your energy. Do anything and everything. Happiness. Okay, so let's look at this. So I had a guy call me. He actually came to one of my empowerment leadership retreat. Jeff Humana. He was a general in the military prior to meeting me, okay? He had such an elevated position, he spoke at the White House. And when he came to successful in business, he came to me, he was elected official. And he said, Janet, I heard about your work. I came to your leadership retreat. I want to work with you. And I'm thinking to myself, what could I possibly do for this man? And I said, well, why would you want to work with me? He said, I'm unhappy, I'm frustrated, and I need a real solution that lasts. I've tried everything. I have been in a situation where this council member of mine and we ran against each other years ago. We hate each other. We hate each other. And don't worry, there's nothing you can do, Janet, to fix that. You're just going to fix me because I am miserable. My wife and I are counting the days until I retire. This is a true story. And he's on my group Zoom masterclass. So if you want to join, you talk to him. It's amazing. We started working together. And at first he said to me, and some of you may have thought this today, this is too simple. Janet, you're a Pollyanna. Have you thought that today? This is too simple. This can't be the secret to success. And he said that to me. He said, this is George is a Pollyanna. We're still working together. And I'm like, okay, Jeff, that's fine. I respect that. But just try this. Let's just do this. Before you go into the next meeting, I want you to be so proud that you have this position and the elected official. I want you to start. What's one thing about this person that you hate? What's one thing that's good about that person? One small thing that has nothing to do with you. Do they wear nice shoes? I always use that one. Do they wear nice shoes? I usually wear my muck boots, so I don't fall in that category. Okay, do they have nice hair? Are they a good parent? Do they drive a nice car? Something unrelated. I want you to focus. So I told him, when you walk into the Grand Council meeting, right when you walk through the door, I want you to think about, gosh, that person is such a good parent. Because normally he goes to bed and I think, I hate that person. I hate that person. He gets up in the morning. I hate that person. I hate that person. I have to go to the meeting. I hate that person. That's what was going on. He walked in the meeting. That person is a great parent. Actually, his actual thing, I'm just remembering, is they ask good questions, and it helps our counsel. I said, okay, I'll just walk in and say, that person always asks brilliant questions. They always ask brilliant questions. Doesn't that feel better than I hate you? I always have brilliant questions. But he was sure. He said, Jen, that's silly. After it took several sessions, I told you, I'm giving it to you, Father. It took several sessions for him to work it, to massage the idea, to play around with it. Things started to change. Next thing you knew it, this person's friends, they used to stand in the corner and laugh at him, so to speak. They used to ignore him and like tuck down to him. The friends started to compliment him. He's like, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, okay. You're starting to believe me, Jeff, little by little, little by little. By the time we were done, he went through the foundational 12 sessions with me. He stayed for 24. And he's still on my group coaching calls for years. Because he always wants to keep learning more and keep practicing more. This takes practice. So the NFL quarterback, the NFL player that scores a touchdown, does he know how to play football and then he's done practicing? No, he practices and practices. The golfer, practice. The musician, do they learn their instrument and then set it aside? No, the professional musician practices every day. This is what you have to do with this. You don't just hear this and say, okay, I heard this, I'm good. You practice it every day. I am still practicing. I am still a student of my own teachings. Jeff is still practicing. He went through 24 sessions with me, could not get enough because he kept using the information in different ways and understanding and getting into deeper knowledge. He now is so thrilled with life. He's like this bundle of joy. He no longer wants to retire. He's 70. He's running for the next office. Higher office, and he's giving to the community. He's realizing him and his wife are happy. He came to me and said, I'm unhappy and frustrated. I need a real solution that lasts, and he got it. but he was open, he was willing. Even in the first, he didn't believe it. That I'm a Pollyanna. This can't be, it's too simple. You can't tell me that it's me, it's that person. We changed him. We couldn't control the other person. We changed him. And everything around him changed. Okay, real fast, I'm almost done. Oh, this is just a nice little quote. She's a PhD from Harvard, PhD. She came to one of my leadership retreats. I did a Boca Raton. She said, amazing. This is like real. She's like, you get the heart of what's important, build. This work is real deal. This work is the real deal. And you know why? She wanted to know the science behind it. Don't just tell me this stuff. I want to know the science because she's a Harvard PhD and she got it. Okay, Rebecca, she was with me about a year. She actually came to me right before COVID hit. She was a chief executive officer, but she was doing some consulting work and work had dried up. She had no work, no love in her life. She was in a hard place. Somehow she trusted enough to make the commitment to explore this information. She announced in our live group last year, not only did the job that she had wanted the most, and for a company she admired the most, offered her a COO position. A gentleman from her life prior came back into her life. So when you switch your energy on one thing, everything else starts to get better without you even realizing that it's you. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Alrighty. Oh, what about companies? That's individuals. What about companies? General Carbide is a company in Greensburg. I work with the CEO. COVID hit, pandemic, this is manufacturing. They make parts, like components for manufacturing. Whew. Sales plummeted and then went flat. She said, Janet, you please help us. You think, how can Janet help a manufacturing company in the middle of a worldwide pandemic? They invited me to do a Zoom call. We started. They invited me in to meet with their salespeople. This is a true story. I just want you to understand the power of this. It's not about me. It's about them. They did it. Okay? True story. They invited me in to speak for half a day to the salespeople. And I let them know they're not victims of the pandemic. They couldn't believe it. They're like, what? How could you say that to us? I'm like, no, it's you. We're just going to shift you. You've got the power. You only have the power to shift you. You can't shift the pandemic. If anyone's trying to do that, okay, you shift you. This is a true story. I was invited to come back. We're going to spend half a day with the salespeople. I'm going to come back in 2 weeks and have a follow-up. Their sales skyrocketed in between those 2 weeks. I even couldn't believe it. It wasn't me. It was them. They listened to me. They had an open mind. They followed through. This is what I am now asking you to do. Do you understand? It's not just about this. It's about this. The way you feel. Because everything is energy. Remember the physicist? Everything is energy. And you are energy. And the energy that you give off, everything you give out, you get back. And you've got the power within you. If you just follow me, I just repeated 3 things to you. Everything's energy. You are energy. Everything you give out, you give back. So what are you giving out from an energy feeling perspective? And that creates everything. Now, what I do when I work with groups, with individuals, I get into great detail on high performance. Are you clear on what it means to be your best? The world's most accomplished people have tremendous clarity. I'm out of time today. I'm going to go into all this. What does it mean? What does it mean to be your best? But guess what? Let me just tell you this. This is really important. I have a blog. If you look at my last blog, it's about this on my website. We think, I want to be my best, but I'm not my best. Again, you're living from a place of lack. Do you know that you are your best inside of you? Whatever you believe, your soul, your higher self, your inner being, whatever that is. Do you know there's a greater part of you? That part of you is your best always. You are already your best. You just need to remember and tap into it. Okay? Confidence and courage. We teach people very specific ways to increase courage and confidence. But it's all in what I'm teaching you, what I already talked about. Productivity. Get clear on what you need to do. What do you need to accomplish today to move your ball forward? Set uninterrupted block times. In between block times, I want you to re-energize. Doesn't mean go grab a cup of coffee. It means move your body, drink fresh water, get some fresh air, do some jumping jacks, do some push-ups. You know, I do that when I'm in my office. Every 50 minutes, I get up. I do this thing where I stretch. I do push-ups and get a glass of water. I swear. And then you get back to your computer like, wow, I'm like so energized, ready for more. I don't deplete myself. You can end the day more energized than you began it. Productivity, influence, and positive persuasion. This is all part of being successful. And we teach skills on how to. You know when you're a good role model. So look what you're doing now. Now what you take back to your organizations and teach people about the power they have within them with their energy. You be a good energy first. You work on you first. People are going to be like, it's a sixth sense. When you're in a room, you walk into a room and somebody's really angry and frustrated, you can almost feel it without looking at them. Do you know that? And somebody comes in and they're positive and they're energized and you're like, what are you doing? I want some of that. To have influence in your organization or with your clients or your community, you must be a good role model. People look up to you. They want to hear what you have to say. They listen to you, and they follow your advice. These are all keys to being successful. Psychology, we do work on that, your mindset and so forth. You focus on your strengths instead of your weaknesses. And purpose. So many things, they ask you first, what is your purpose? What are your goals from here? You know what we do? We elevate you first. We elevate you first. You become more expanded, more limitless. Then we ask you to define your purpose. Completely opposite of what everyone else does. It's brilliant. I didn't come up with that. High Performance Institute came up with that. I'm not going to take you through all that stuff I do. We'll leave you with, you email me, Janet at janetmckee.com. I will email you, or give me your business card. I won't spam you. There's my phone number too. I will email you the slides. I will email you some of the articles to help you understand this information. I don't want to leave you with this information and leave you alone. You can always unsubscribe. Don't worry, I'm not going to spam you. But I'm going to continue to encourage you to follow through with this advice. Do we even have time for questions and answers? I'm sorry, I had no clock. I have no idea what time. Do you guys follow?
Yeah.
Did it make sense? Did you understand the new piece of it, the new nuance? I'm here if anybody wants to come up and talk to me after and ask questions. I hope the people on Zoom got some good information. Anybody want a hot pepper? Bite into your beliefs. Any immediate question, anything? Did I overwhelm you? Have I worn you out? That was a 6 to 8 hour thing that you got in 2 hours or more. I have no idea what time it is. Sorry.
So,
how are you, Ronan? It's so good to see you. I saw you sitting over here. Okay.
So, I guess my question is based on what you talked about. You talked a lot about success, but yet, a lot of different people have different definition of success, and I think one of the things that I like your comments on is two things. One is, what's the how important is emotion in gaining your success? And two, with everything that's going on in the world today, where does inclusion, growing your network that's diverse and different from you, what is the importance of that?
Okay, very good question. So this is brilliant. And thank you for bringing that up. Very important, powerful questions. First of all, how emotion play a role. And this is the whole thing. Emotion, right? That's your feelings, and that creates your energy. So that's where the work has to happen in order to achieve success. Now, what is the definition of success in our work? A successful life is not just success in business. I said that really short, right at the beginning, really briefly. It does not just mean success in business. It's success in every area of your life. And you know, that's what a true high performer is. A high performer is not just successful in business. They look at their relationships. They look at their health and well-being. They look at their hobbies. They look at their spiritual life. They make sure that they're taking every area of their life to the next level because they know that each one impacts the other. So success is really feeling good. That's the ultimate successful life. It's feeling good about who you are, how you show up in the world, how you communicate with others. You're a good role model for others. That's true success, and that feels good because you were feeling good on the way to that, and the more you got it, the more it felt good, the more momentum you were building, and now you feel amazing. That's success. It's not a dollar figure. It's not a size of your house or the car you drive necessarily, and those are nice, okay? It is the way you feel pride about your life, and that's, you feel it now. You know you're the best self already. Your inner being is already your best. You are not less than that. You are that. So the more you uncover that and tap into that and know that, you are the best. And feel it now. And more reasons to feel it are going to start coming into your life. So all the whole emotion is everything about success. Number two, this inclusion, and everybody's like separated and arguing with each other and disagreeing. Is that kind of where you're going with that, right? Like, how do you deal with that? The way you have influence, first of all, you want to have influence in that group. Let's say you're going into a diversity and inclusion type meeting or whatever, okay? First of all, you acknowledge, I know that the way you feel is valid and that your points mean a lot to you. What are you doing? That's actually a secret to influence and persuasion. You acknowledge first. You don't say, no, you're wrong. Okay? You know, try this with your spouse when you go home tonight. Okay? Then you give them reason. You start talking about how it will benefit them to consider your ideas. But I'm going to give you something more important. And then you give them the actually emotion. We call it affect. You acknowledge. Do I have that too? You acknowledge where they are. Accept it. But then you bring in the emotion. Like, do you know what this is going to mean to you when we solve this problem? Do you know what the world is going to be like? So let's look at this. First of all, everybody's so worried about what's going on. And me too. You know, I get my days. I'm not perfect at this. I'm still working on it. And I work at the news and I'm like, okay. So the challenges that we are facing right now, they're serious. Now, we've had challenges in our country, in the world before. There is something good coming of this. And it might be painful. It's like childbirth, right? Painful, but wow, is it worth it? So what good may be coming of this? We don't know, but doesn't that feel a little bit better? But here's the thing. When you're in these diversity and inclusion situations or conversations or meetings, guess what? Here's what I would say. I do a lot of leadership, empowerment leadership work, okay? We all want the same thing. What do we want? We want to feel valued, appreciated, respected. That's a fact, by the way. Understood, valued, appreciated. There's 4 words that the high performers got. I'll think of them. Understood, valued, appreciated, and accepted. Yeah, something like that. Okay. But people want to hear those words. But we all want the same thing. We want to feel that our point matters. that are where we came from matters. It's the situation. We want to feel that we're being heard. We all want the same thing. We want to feel appreciated, accepted, valued, understood. We all want to be happy. And what would the world be like if everybody thought the exact same thing? Could be pretty boring. We'd all be like, then we'd be living in status quo. We would just be like, okay, everything's fine. What do I have to do? It's fine. You know what the other 4-letter word that starts with the letter F is? Fine. Fine is not extraordinary. So our challenges in our life, remember the rumble strips on the side of the road? They're good, the negative thoughts. Guess what challenges are? They fuel desire for better. If we didn't have dirty water, we wouldn't have done things to clean up the water. Pittsburgh, if we didn't have dirty air, right, we wouldn't have done things to clean up the air. Contrast or challenge fuels desire for better. It's a good thing. What good may come of the struggles and the challenges that we are facing right now? We don't know. But ask yourself that question. When you ask your brain a question, your brain starts to search for answers and starts to shift your energy. What good may come of this feels a lot better than this is awful. This is horrible. Our country's going down the tubes, okay? No, okay, what good may come of this? But when you're looking at diversity and inclusion and people with different opinions, we all have it. How many people in the family have people on this side and that far apart? Okay. So it's everywhere. But guess what? We all want the same thing. So come in with that knowing. We just all want to be understood, valued, and appreciated, respected. That's the other word. Understood, respected, valued, and appreciated. I knew it would come to me. It came to me when I stopped struggling to get it. Did you notice that? When I stopped struggling, did you ever notice when you try to think of something and you go do something else that comes to you? That's another example of stressless success. Okay? So walk into those conversations listening, valuing them. They're humans. They have a right to their opinion. Understand where they're coming from, but tell them that you do. Tell them. People want to hear explicitly that they're understood, valued, accepted, and respected, and appreciated. Those are the words. Understood, valued. They want to hear it explicitly. Don't just assume that they know it. This is true leadership. I teach a whole thing with leaders. Do you know I have this thing? We do constructive criticism, right? We all think that constructive criticism is good, right? You have an employee come in, a performance review. You tell them 1,000 things they've done right, and the one thing, areas of improvement. We think we're supposed to tell them that. They leave the meeting, what? Not remembering the 1,000 good things. They remember, oh my goodness, can you believe he told me that I wasn't good at this? That I have areas of improvement. They leave depleted. Do you know what you do instead? You say, look at all this great stuff you're doing. Wow, I cannot believe you enthusiastically, you are the best at this. Now, what can we do together up here? What can we do together to help the business do better in this area? I really value your opinion. I respect where you're coming from. That employee leaves like, wow, that person wants to know, my boss wants to know from me how to improve the business. And guess what they do? They improve the business. They don't leave depleted. This is all energy. It's all it is. So think to yourself, when you go into those discussions or this issue with the country, whatever you're discussing, right, with the inclusion, are you putting a bad energy into that meeting before you walk in? Or are you like, oh, I understand, value, respect, and appreciate. I'm going to walk into that meeting. Next thing you know it, they're also not defensive. I really understand where you're coming from. Their defenses break down. And you open up for solutions. Did I answer your question? Great question. That question was so good. Give you a copy of my book. Anybody else want to ask a good question?
So, my name's Frank Leo.
Okay.
So, I'm a VP of Business Development for a IT supply chain consulting firm. So, we're a big SAP partner, so you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
I'm also launching a commercial cleaning business with my fiance. We're about 6 months into it. So, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of anxiety across both. And when you were sharing about how all that stress early in your career led to health problems, like I get heartburn because, they say stress will hurt the gut. I don't know if anyone has heartburn, but I would assume some of you do. And I notice the more stress and anxiety I take on, just the more health issues that I'm getting. I mean, I'm pretty healthy, but at the end of the day.
You're way too young to have.
Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy, but I value the fact that you have tips, right? Things that you're able to address stress and anxiety. And if you could just share at a high level the things that helped you in that phase with just addressing stress and anxiety.
Yeah. Now remember, driving to my farm, I didn't think about the fact the farm was losing money. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I looked at the sky and the birds. You don't have to feel better on that subject if it has you stressed. Just do something else. Remember the tools in your hip pocket to feel better. That might sound so ridiculously simple and Pollyanna, remember? It's that simple. Get out of your head. It's not about controlling your thoughts. Like, I got to really think about how I'm going to manage the stress. I got to think, what am I going to think? I'm going to do it, right? And get heartburn over that. Look out the sky. I love my wife. Or your fiance. Getting married. Okay? We have a good business. We're smart people. If we would just learn, you think. It's because you've been taught, I don't know how many years, you've been taught your entire life that you must stress and struggle to make that business a success. And you will get to some success, but you'll kill yourself in the meantime. Break it down. Open up. Now, what's your name? Frank. Are you drinking water in the morning? Lots of water? Did you ever hear of apple cider vinegar? Now I'm going to give you a little help on what I say. Little apple cider. Did you ever hear of raw and pasteurized apple cider vinegar? When you're done drinking, I want you to drink a liter of water in the morning after you get a good night's sleep. You doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Drink a liter of water. I want you to drink 3 liters throughout the day. When you get to the bottom, put the raw and pasteurized apple cider vinegar. Take it like a shot in the morning. The reason why you get heartburn is you need balanced stomach acid, not anti-acid. You need stomach acid. When you balance the acid in your stomach, because the stress is killing that. It's making that, or you think it's making it worse, it's just putting you out of balance. If you don't get enough proper stomach acid, you'll get GERD, heartburn, acid reflux, because your sphincter isn't closing, because you don't have balanced stomach acid. I want you to do the water and apple cider vinegar. Try to eat more plant foods. Get off the junk food and the alcohol. Okay, good. And call me, make you feel better. But thank you for the question. So again, don't try to control your thoughts. It's normal you're going to have thoughts of stress. I have thoughts of stress every day of my life. I worry, fear every day of my life. But I notice when I'm feeling uncomfortable. Remember awareness? Remember the rug that had mold on it? I just want you to put the light of awareness. Hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable. What thought am I feeling thinking that's making me feel this way? What thought could I choose instead? You're asking your brain, what thought could I choose instead? I'm just right now, I'm gonna look at the sky. My son and I, we have this thing because we were at the beach this summer for a week because at a conference. Be the sky, we call it. Whenever we're in struggle, be the sky. What does a picture of a blue sky look like? Can you imagine that in your head? What does it feel like? Okay, now from a biological standpoint, he now has blood flow to his brain. Again, now go back to, remember we're also climbing a ladder. Go back to the ladder. Now you have clearer thinking. Like, okay, the thing I was worried about Worry is just imagining, visualization, what I don't want. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit more like I have clear thinking. I'm going to open up. I trust. Spiritual life, by the way, is really important. You have faith and trust that a solution now, because you're no longer building walls of resistance, solution is going to become apparent to you. And you're open. What could that be? Stress is a choice. Frank, you are choosing to put more bricks on your wall of resistance every time you do. It's a choice, but don't beat yourself up for it. Be this guy. Just put, now, again, you got to practice. Athlete, musician, practice. Like, I'm going to have stress today. I know it. Okay, it's all right. But I know when I feel uncomfortable, I'm just going to keep practicing. Okay, what can I do right now? And if you're beating your head against the wall on something, that is rule number one, key number one, get away from it. Walk away from the problem right there. If you're really beating your head, did you ever do that? You're trying to get something done and you're ringing and it's like, oh. The last thing you think is to walk away from it because you think I got to keep pushing through. Productivity is taking action from a better energy, from feeling better. So if you're beating your head against the wall about something, I want you to put your pen down and walk away and be this guy. Get a glass of water, get outside, Mother Nature, the birds. Thank you, God, for my business, for my fiance. Oh, okay, now I'll go back.
I think part of the stress is just the overwhelming consumption of work, right? So
you're choosing to feel overwhelmed. Now you have an overwhelming amount of work.
yeah.
So why? Because your businesses must be doing well.
They're doing very well. It's so much, right? You can never really get ahead.
His business is doing well, but he wants to complain. He wants to be stressed. I'm going to feel the heartburn because that makes me a successful businessman. Your business is doing great. Thank you, God. Thank you. Whatever your beliefs are. Thank you for so much great business. How? Okay, I have a thing I say to myself when I'm really running out of time and I'm really stressed. I have all the time I need and the time I have. I have all the time I need and the time I have. I run actually a couple of small businesses. I never have enough time to get everything done on my thing. Okay, I have all the time I need. So I prioritize. What are the most important things that must get done right now? And I set time. I actually have learned, I don't know if you can do this, turn my phone off. Because if I turn my phone off for 15 minutes and focus on this thing, I get it done with less stress. I'm not overwhelmed because if that phone keeps ringing, just turn it off. And then I go back, I check my phone. Did anybody call me important? What's the most important thing? The things that I can return calls later, I do when I'm walking outside in Mother Nature. What are the most important things? Good, done. Next thing. What's the next thing that I must get done today because it's the most priority thing to move my ball forward? Okay, gotta focus. Overwhelm is a choice, but it's because we allow all those distractions in all day long. You have to set those uninterrupted block times to give yourself that peace and that quiet to focus. You will feel better, and the action you take will get a better outcome too. Okay? This all takes, these are good questions. This is what I do when I work with people. And when you come on my thing or whatever, because then what will happen is tomorrow or next week, something else will come up and say, I wonder what Janet would do in this situation. And I don't mean for you to rely on Janet. I want you to be empowered with this information. The book literally takes you by the hand and walks you through this, all of this, but know that I'm here. Know that there's resources available to you because it does take practice. I'm always practicing. Anybody else? Is it like 5 p.m. now? Have we been doing this all day? But I love this. I'm sorry. I appreciate everybody sitting and hanging in there. Anybody else afraid to share something that you... There might be a few more in there. Hannah.
Yes.
Gateway Clipper. It's like everybody. I said to them this morning. I said, Everybody should have to get on the Gateway Clipper because you really appreciate this beautiful city that we live when you're out, you remember tourists in your own city? I said, we should make a requirement that everyone lives in Pittsburgh must get on the Gateway Clipper. I said, you must pay your taxes, you must get on the Gateway Clipper.
So we're all part of our upper level management, and we have weekly meetings, as I'm sure everybody does, where everybody's getting together and talking about the action items that they have to get done, yada, yada, yada. There's an agenda, everybody has a responsibility. So we want to take ideas back to the team. So we talked about like stress and goals and productivity. What would you say is the most important thing? Like if we want to come back with one idea.
I bet somebody here knows the answer to that question. If you've been listening to me all day. Everything's, and that sounds crazy. They're going to be like, oh, okay, here she goes again, another meeting, the boss. We have to pretend like we aren't interested. You're going to know what she's talking about. You have the, what's that? You met his wife on the Gateway Clipper. Maybe I need to get on some more rides. Maybe I'll meet my next husband. I love that. That is awesome. You could get a book for that. That's your new advertising slogan. Meet the love of your life on a Gateway Clipper. Or fall back in love with your city that is so gorgeous. So how do they take, remember this was 2 hours, it should have been 8. How do you express to them that, listen, you have more power within you to create your life than you ever knew before? And what we learned this morning is that everything's energy. The physicists, I'm going to say that, the scientists have proven everything's energy, and that we have more influence than we ever thought. It's all about doing things that feel better. Don't struggle. Maybe teach them about the ladder. You might need me to come and explain some of this. I can do an abbreviated, whatever. But like that you just take one small thought, one thing that feels better. Because when you take action, just from a slightly better feeling place, not only do you feel better, isn't that a good side effect of this? It'll open you up to solutions and opportunities, possibilities from coming to you, and you will get a better outcome. Can you, I don't know, is that too advanced to share with someone that hasn't sat through a few hours, that everything is energy? They might not get that yet unless they heard all of this. But the ladder, okay. Remember the 3 steps. 1, wellness. Take care of yourself, because then you feel more energized. Number 2, learn about the ladder. You can't just leap to a positive thought. If you're feeling uncomfortable, you're at the low rung of the ladder, you gain a grip and you find your footing. Just one rung at a time. When you've gone too far and you can't feel good about that, walk away from the subject, get off the ladder, do anything and everything that feels good. Do you guys play music at your meetings? Do you reflect on all the great things that some people in the meeting have done? And like do you bring in? So you're getting from your people what you're giving off to. So it's you. Okay. Sorry, that's it. When I coach people, I challenge them. If you're getting something from your people that feels uncomfortable, always say what's going on inside me that's creating that. Often it's just history. You walk into a meeting, oh, I know they're going to do this. They do it every time. I walk into the meeting. Isn't that what you said? I walk into every time we go to the meeting. Like, how can I get these people on board with this? They don't get it. So you walk into the meeting like, you're going to get a response. Can you trust that your people, by you doing this, you expand and elevate you, that they're going to say, hey, Hannah, what's going on with you? Did you change your hair? I get that. What'd you do? You seem different. And I'm like, actually, I went to this workshop and I heard from this brilliant lady that we have more power within us than we ever thought, that everything's energy, that all just by shifting us. And then I want you to bring in something really great to those meetings. Say, Joe, do you know everybody what Joe did last week? Oh my gosh, it was our Joe. Okay, sorry. Okay, that comes to me. I'm sorry. That's part of it. Okay. It's not weird. I'm sorry. That's right. Okay. Do you know what Joe did last week? He talked to this client who was upset and came up with a solution and now loving us. Joe, you're amazing. Even if there's 50 other things you can't stand about Joe. Joe, that was amazing. Please keep doing that. Is so weird. Everyone, yeah, Joe. Everybody's like, hey, Joe. Just little things to help the group feel better, but it's got to come from you. Does that help a little bit? I want you to just play with that idea, and then I want you to call me. And again, if you ever want me to come in and talk to the group or work with you guys, or you call me on the phone, or you guys come to my live masterclass. If you email me, I'm going to send you the slides, but I'm also glad to get you for free, no charge, onto my live monthly masterclass, Stressless Success masterclass. We talk all live on Zoom about all these things. You can say, okay, Janet, I took your advice. Here's what happened, but here's my next issue. I'm really struggling with this. Because it's like Play-Doh. You got to keep playing with it. It's like a muscle. A muscle, you got to keep working the muscle for it to stay strong or to get stronger. It's the same thing. You got to keep playing with this idea and playing with this idea. You guys have been so tremendous. I can't believe you sat through all of this and you're actually still looking at me. Okay. I hope that you took something, one thing from today that's going to change your life for the better. This is why I do what I do. Because then you are going to go out into your life and have a slightly different version of you. And that's going to have a ripple effect. God bless you, whoever's there. Right? And just get out of your head and your energy. What am I giving off? Just ask yourself that throughout the day. What am I giving out? What energy am I giving off? Because I'm going to get back what I give out. What am I giving out? Before you make a phone call, be the sky. Before you walk into a meeting, I'm going to be my best. I understand, value, respect, and appreciate everybody in that meeting because everybody has value in the world. Anything else?
If you have a book left out of question.
She just wants a book.
Just kidding.
She just wants a book. No, no, I appreciate it. I'm teasing you. I think I have a few more in here.
That was pretty good. It worked, right? Good job. I really didn't have a question.
You already have
No,
one.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
Okay, so you mentioned if you have a negative thought, don't try to jam a positive thought into it. And then you gave the example, which I can relate to. If someone complains to you about an issue, don't try to fix it by saying you should just have a better attitude. Because we all do that. I'm guilty of it myself. You know, how do you be a therapist and listen to somebody that has a negative attitude and you're just just have a better attitude about that. Don't be so negative. What do you say instead of that? Because that's the natural human reaction to say that.
yeah. So it depends on the specific situation, but the basic idea is, let's see. So somebody that, so the idea, what I said is negative thoughts are a positive thing. First of all, your first thing you wrote there is a little bit different.
If you have a negative thought, don't try to jam a positive thought into it.
Right. Okay. So you don't fight against the negative thought, and you don't just try to just have a positive thought, because if you're feeling can you help them climb the ladder? Well, Jane, I understand and definitely value and respect how you're feeling right now. You've had some, again, I don't know the situation. You've had some challenges in the past. Did you learn anything from those challenges? So knowing the challenges have some wisdom like buried in, wonder what this could be teaching us or showing us. Wonder what good may come of this. Do you think is there something good that may come of this? Even if you don't know the answer to that, just imagine that something good always comes from my challenges. What is coming from this? And then you're like, well, you're a smart person. You're smart. You're so smart that you're going to begin to uncover solutions. Do you think you'll start, that this challenge will help you to start searching for solutions? You see, I'm not leaping. Just think positively. Just have a positive thought. You need a positive mindset. That's all you need. You're going to get a rejection. Can you teach somebody to climb the ladder? Or can you take them to do something fun? Get outside, walk in Mother Nature, plays good music, whatever that is. Can you take them away from it? Say, come here, let's go get a cup of coffee, let's go get lunch. Look at the sky and the flowers and the birds. Will you look at that? Then. So you've had some challenges in the past. What good may come of it? You see, I took them away, feel better. They have a little bit more blood flow to their brain and just climb the ladder.
Okay.
What would be helpful, and feel free to call me later. I do have business cards up here and a couple of things. And if anybody, you don't want to email me, Janet@janetmckee.com, so I can send you, feel free to leave your email or your business card here. I promise I won't share it with anybody. Call me and we can talk about that specific situation.
Okay.
But does that help?
Yes, it does.
And actually, yes, yeah, just throw it there. Contrast fuels desire. Challenge fuels desire for better.
I like to get away.
So if somebody, so also, okay, back to this, back to Hannah. What's going on inside you that's bringing that out of that person? That's really where we should start. So she was like, what do I gotta do for that person? You begin to play with this information and shift you. Not only will, then she's like, what are you doing? How come you're so happy? Like, what's going on? And then you want to listen because you're a role model. But also you're going to get a different reaction from them. I mean, just my farm, I have a farm manager. He grew up in the country. He's actually the great-great-grandson of the man that farmed the land. And he is a tough cookie. Oh, and every time I would be dealing with the challenges of Kevin, I'd be like, ugh. And then he would do something like, Kevin, just please stop doing that. And we used to like butt heads, right? But I needed him and he was valuable. I finally realized, there's no way. Now I'm like, Kevin, thank you for the great job you did today. Do you know how much this farm needs you? I really trust that you're going to get this done. Like, all of a sudden, he's changing. So it comes from you. You're going to get out what you get back what you give out. So what's going on inside of you that's attracting that from that person? That might be a hard thing to think about, but I want everybody that's having a challenge with someone to think about it's you. You can't change the other person. You can only change you, but when you change you, the other person changes. So you actually can change another person, but that's hard to believe. All righty. Everybody good. I'm here if you want to talk to me at all after.
Sounds good.
And thank you so much for your time. You guys have been awesome. Please reach out to me. All I want in the world is for you to take this information and put it to use in your life for the better. I'm here to support you in any way, every way that you need. You call on me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Janet.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep. A few closing remarks. First of all, there's a ton more energy in this room now than there was 2 hours ago. You know that. So thank you, Janet. And I came in here without thinking I would have a takeaway. I had a definite takeaway. So for me, there's something I do 3 or 4 times a week, gives me energy, makes me feel good about myself. And I only do it 3 or 4 times a week because the day gets away from us. You know, you have a meeting in the morning, meetings all day, Zoom meetings, whatever. But I'm going to stop that. I'm going to make that task, which for me is running outdoors on trails. I'm going to make that a priority every day. It gives me energy, makes me feel good, probably will increase my productivity. So I appreciate that, Janet. So Couple of program notes. Bookmark May 25th. This should be very good. I Googled the speaker because I couldn't pronounce his name, quite frankly. So it's Talis Teixeira. But if you look at the person's name, trust me, it doesn't look anything like that. He's going to be speaking on the 25th on unlocking the customer value chain, how decoupling drives customer disruption. Should be very interesting, so please bookmark that. And lastly, just want to thank the sponsors, which is PNC Bank, Meyer Unkovic and Scott, UPMC Health Plan, AT&T, Henderson Brothers, Cohen & Company, Wilkie & Associates, C-Leveled, Net Experts, and now FedEx. So thank you very much.